All right, algebra students, this is lesson 6 of Unit 1, Topic 1. This is on literal equations, which is basically just solving equations when you're given just letters. You are, in this case, trying to solve each equation that for the given variable, which in this case is x. So you're going to solve it using the exact same properties you solved any of the other equations with numbers. X is right here. X is being multiplied by a. I'm going to do the opposite operation, which is division. I'm going to use the division property of equality. Because anything divided by itself is 1, just like I've done in other multiple videos. That's going to leave us with x equals d divided by a. That is the answer. It's just a one-step equation. X equals d divided by a. So this one over here is going to be 2 steps. X is right here. Got to get rid of add and subtract before multiply or divide. So I got to subtract b from both sides. You can only combine terms when they're like terms. So d minus b is d minus b. There's nothing you can do there. Bring down the cx, divide both sides by c, and we are done. So it's subtraction property equality, division property equality, and there's your answer. X equals d minus b divided by c. All right, and last question over here, very similar to question B. The only difference is they throw an A over here. So it's not going to go any different, A, B. You're going to just subtract it all together. Think of that as one term. Or monomial, if you want to think of it in that term, in that aspect. Okay, term. Yeah, I said the same thing over again. So cx is equal to d minus ab. All right, because once again, you can't combine things unless they are like terms. And then the last step I'm going to do is divide both sides by c, and that is the answer, because the c's will cross out. X is equal to d minus ab. Yeah, it looks like it spells out dab. Dab divided by C. Well, it's actually D minus B. D minus AB divided by C. So that's literal equation. So everything in this lesson is basically very similar to that. And it's getting you to the idea of how to rearrange an equation to set it equal to a given variable. So in this case, if I want to rearrange this so that it's S equals, then all I got to do is get rid of the CP. And right now, S is being divided by CP. So I would do the opposite, which is multiply by CP. And once you've done that, then you've got your answer of S. So that was the answer down here. S equals A times C times P. And it does not matter what order you put those in. So you could have done CAP, PAC, anything would have went. Because multiplication property, the commutative property of multiplication states that you can multiply in any order you want. All right, so we did that activity. We did this one. This one's about the price. I tend to love this question, even though it's very, very difficult looking. So R is the amount of profit or revenue I know we talked about in class. That's the amount of profit that they make in the cafeteria. S times PL, that represents the amount of money collected from the lunch, because that's all the students times the price of L lunch equals all the money collected. And you're subtracting, this all represents how much money they're spending to make the meal. So everything that you see here is about paying the workers, and then this is how much it costs for them to buy the food from the vendors. And so you take all the money they take in minus the money that they spent equals the profit. So you're hoping this is more than this, because if it's not, then you're losing money. All right, so I like this question because, like I said, it's real life. You know, that's the way all businesses work. You got to take in more money than you're going to spend. And if you don't take in more money you're going to spend, then you're going to have no profits whatsoever. All right, so this is the question that we didn't do, if you want to take a quick look at it. But we never did this one. What does TS represent in terms of the school cafeteria? So you're supposed to figure out, if you do all of this, what would TS represent? But we never did this question. All right, so the homework, what most of you are waiting to see. Here it is. So we're trying to solve. Let's read the directions. Solve each literal equation, or writing each literal equation in slope-intercept form. All right, so slope-intercept form means y equals mx plus b. I'm sure some of you probably YouTubed that just to see what it was. That's what it is. Y equals mx plus b. Y is the output. That's the answer, or we think of that as the total. M is the rate of change. That's how much something is changing over time. And x is the input. That's the number that you're putting into. You can make it whatever you want. And the b is the starting point. That's wherever the pattern began. All right, so if I want to make it y equals mx plus b, I got to get rid of the 4x. This is only going to take me one step. Subtract 4x from both sides, leaving me with just y equals 3 minus 4x. Now I'm going to leave it like that, even though that's technically b minus mx. I'm going to write it. So, or you could write y equals negative 4x plus 3. Now, you see what I did there? You can take the term. You got to keep the sign in front of it, though, and you can switch the order. You got to keep that negative sign. So you can put that first and then this second, and that is going to be the exact same thing. So we're still talking about starting at 3 and decreasing by 4 for every pattern after that. All right, this one over here is going to be just as easy. Divide both sides by 2. That's going to leave you with y equals 6x divided by 2. Oh, you got to do it to everything. Don't forget about that. That equals 3x plus 4.5. And the reason why it's 4.5 is because you got to divide. If you're going to divide this entire side by 2, then you got to divide this entire side by 2. All right, last question. Let's take a look at this one. Oh, it looks like it's going to take us 2 steps. Get rid of the 5x on both sides. Come on, pen. Show me a 5. There we go. Subtract 5x over here, and that's going to leave us with negative 2y. Don't forget about that negative. Got to keep that sign. Didn't do anything with it. 10 minus 5x. I'm going to leave the 10 minus 5x as 10 minus 5x. Nothing I can do there. And then the last step, divide by negative 2 on both sides. It looks like we're going to have decimals involved over here. So these cancel out. Y equals 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5. And negative 5x divided by negative 2, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And 5 divided by 2 is a decimal. Like I had said a second ago, it's going to be 2.5x. Or you could have written anything equivalent, something like 2 1/2, or you could have written 5 halves, technically. So I'm sure you know that there's lots of ways you can write decimals in different ways. All right, great, awesome. If you need any more help, just let me know.